Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Gran Turismo 4. So, on the last one, we went through another endurance event, which was also the last one for this Let's Play. And in this episode, we're going to be changing it up by doing an actual event this time. Although this still is a voiceover, it's an actual event, and as you can see, I'm kind of prepping in this video, or in this footage right here, just to kind of see what's available for the car I was going to bring into this championship, which, as I'm sure we'll get to here in a little bit, it is the we go over to the Japanese events, it's the All Japan GT Championship. Now, for this event, although something like the Minolta would have been legal to bring here, I decided to go ahead and change it up a little bit and bring in the NSX prototype LM car that we got just a just a couple of episodes ago, really. Also, I should say I am very sorry that the audio is especially quiet in this video. I did not realize that I had the volume turned down so low when I was recording this episode, so it ended up coming out that it was practically like silent in the footage, so sorry about that. Um, but in good news, Vegas does have an option to actually increase the gain a bit, so I can actually hear it a little bit. And I'll see if I can increase it a little more after I'm done recording this episode. But to start off, we're on Tokyo R246. As you can see, it's 5 laps. Not a very long race, but also not an easy one, really. Although I did get probably like, I think the max upgrades for this thing that are possible. Actually, no, I got stage 3 turbo, not stage 4. So I got stage 3 turbo because I wanted it to be a little bit, challenging, right? And all this championship turned out to be was a pretty good challenge, honestly, because I was fast enough to get ahead by a bit, but not too far. It was usually like only like a few seconds I was able to get ahead by. It wasn't anything too major, but what's it called? What's it called? It was a pretty decent lead. It was nothing too major, and I liked that really. I liked having to actually pay attention to what I was doing, so that way I wouldn't get overtaken. Anyways, I think this event was a pretty good length, honestly. R246 took me about like a few minutes probably, like 7, 8 minutes. It wasn't too long. It was definitely not on the shorter end of the races that were in this event because they were the ones that were shorter. But it's definitely one of the ones that I'm a bit more. I enjoyed a bit more because I do think I like R246 a lot as a track. It's kind of just simple, but it has enough turns, so it's complex. And overall, I do like this track, and I like the car I was driving too. The NSX LM prototype car, I think, is like the exact name of it. I'm not too sure. Um, yeah, this car is actually pretty fun to drive, honestly, with all the like with the turbo upgrades and the yeah, just the turbo upgrades because that's all you could get. With the turbo upgrade, it was fast, it could handle well. The braking power is pretty good, honestly. The tires didn't shred too fast, so that was a godsend, really. And overall, I think this car was pretty good. Although that being said, my driving skills weren't exactly on point, really. I kept crashing into stuff, but it was pretty late at night when I recorded this episode, so it's not like it's really like expected for me to like just not crash into stuff. Anyways, I know I did not record any of like the full races for these events because that would be like an hour, really. It definitely did take me a while to get through this event because it is just 10 races that are pretty long. I don't think I recorded the whole events for any of these. I think I only did like 1 or 2 laps of each except for this R246. Um, I guess not because I went ahead and just kind of skipped forward to the last lap, even though I was like pretty much quarter of the way through the third lap. But yeah, I went ahead and skipped forward to what's it called? The final lap. As you can see, the lead was still pretty consistent. It was to the point where the person in second place, the Supra, was pretty much right behind me. It was on my ass. And overall, for the first race, I think it did pretty good. Definitely does set the tone for what the rest of these races are going to be like. Pretty close. Not too far of a lead on any of the people that were in these races. Um, Overall, pretty good. The second race took place on the Suzuka East course, I think is what it was called. It's just the short variant, which is just like three curves. Um, to start off, the NSX-R, the other like NSX race car that's in this game, this car was giving me trouble to actually pass up because I was kind of getting held back by the other people that I was trying to pass, and this guy managed to pull ahead very quickly. But as you can see right here, overtook him, then drove to the grass almost immediately, then had to overtake him once again. I think overall this race is pretty good. I do tend to like this version of Suzuka more than the full variant, just because it's like, yeah, the full variant I think is just like really, really long. I mean, it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be long, but um, it's just like very long. It feels like it goes on forever. But besides that, I went ahead and skipped forward to the final lap where I finished pretty comfortably ahead of the person in second place. Anyways, going on to our third race, I very rarely actually showed the what do you call it? Like the scoreboard. I very rarely showed that. I just kind of paused in between races and stuff like that. Our third race takes place on Seoul Central, and this is a track that I was just trying to get as much time in as possible, so I went ahead and just used the uh like roundabout wall ride just to kind of get some time in. Was not really caring for actually kind of driving cleanly here. I was definitely kind of wall riding, speeding up a lot, even though I knew I would have crashed into a wall like almost immediately. Um, Overall, just kind of not really like caring to drive it respectfully on the track here. Just kind of driving very, very rough, very unpolished, I guess is what you would call it. Um, as you can see though, very much kind of just keeping the same distance even throughout the entire event, as you can see here by the last lap. Not very much able to get it like very big time difference even with the like roundabout. Third race was kind of just that. The fourth race was on the Fuji Speedway, the 90s variant. So the big ass time skip right there was very much apparent. This was definitely one of the tracks that was able to get done a lot more quicker, just because that shortcut really does cut off the time. Let me see. Yeah, a lot of these races ended up just being kind of like this. I never got too much of a lead unless there was a giant shortcut that was just kind of easy to do. But I wasn't ever really able to like, what's it called? I don't think I ever got to second place or anything like that. I always tended to get like first place. But usually it was a lot closer than this, I'd say, just because there's not really like a shortcut on any of the tracks that were in this event. There's not really anything that's like too big of a shortcut, especially because of this specific variant of Fuji Speedway has like the most easy giant shortcut in the game, except for maybe like Circuit de la Sarthe, but that shortcut's also like crazy. Anyways, my audio just got very choppy on my end in terms of like just how I don't know. Just got extremely choppy for some reason, and I don't know if that was gonna appear on your guys' end, but it sounded very weird to me. Anyways, kind of skipping on to the last lap, it was more of the same. Just doing the shortcut for all the six of the laps, even though I was already like half a minute ahead of what's it called, second place. I decided to go ahead and just keep using the shortcut. I mean, why not just secure that giant lead, especially in an event like this where it was kind of very close. Um, yeah, just why not? Anyways, I didn't record much of the fifth race because the fifth race was on high speed ring, high was like high ring, something ring speedway or something like that. I don't know. It's a NASCAR track. I didn't record much of it because I already did an endurance event on this track, so you probably already know all there is to really say about it. It definitely is just an endurance run of how long you can stay on your tires, or how long you can just drive consistently even though your tires are shredding. Very much just an endurance event. Not too much to talk about there. Uh, Race 6 was on Laguna Seca, which was interesting. Mainly just because, the corkscrew, where you have to go downhill on a blind turn, and then turn right almost immediately after taking a left on that corkscrew. But I also think this track is interesting just because it's small, but it's pretty complicated for how small it actually is. It's nothing too crazy, but what's it called? Definitely is I think Laguna Seca is probably one of the most fun tracks in the game, honestly. Just because it's kind of, like I said, small, complicated. It doesn't take too long to actually get events done on here. Unless it's the endurance event, which then it'll take forever. As you can see right here, I didn't even take the corkscrew properly. I was just kind of speeding through here, just trying to get through. And as a result of that, I got overtaken. And as you can see right here, what's it called? It was always, like I've been saying for this entire video, it was always a very close competition between first and second place. Just because this car was not, it was fast enough to overtake, it was not fast enough to gain like huge time differences. It was always just like a very small amount of time that this car was able to gain distance on. Skipping ahead to the last lap here. More of the same. I was driving very rough, not very much trying to stay on track and stuff like that. Um, as you can see right here, just doing the corkscrew. I don't think I took this one properly this time, or nope, I wanted decided to use the shortcut. Um, yeah, so and I decided to do all that. I think this one was recorded late at night, so kind of just very rough on my driving because I was tired. I think these last few episodes have been were recorded in one session, like one night, where I decided to go ahead and just record the last few episodes that were not going to be the finale, which is like going to be a normal episode. I sit down and record in one go. Race 7. What's it called? I didn't record very much because I was kind of just trying to get through it. But race 7 took place on Hong Kong, which is a track that I think I said before, but I'm just not very much a fan of like the layout and stuff like that. I do like the track itself, like the visuals and stuff like that. The layout, I think. Sorry about that. The layout is definitely something I do not like about the track. But other than that, I think it's honestly just a very good city track, honestly. Though I don't really like the layout. As you can see right here, we're on the second to last lap, and I was barely able to overtake the guy in first, just to kind of show why this track kind of just sucks. But I also shows I guess why it took me like so long to overtake really, because that wall ride right there on Hong Kong is legitimately probably one of the hardest I think to take in the game. Because if you don't balance it properly, You just end up crashing against the wall right after you get off the wall, and even then, I was only able to get like barely below a second worth of time difference. Very much a track that's not wall ride friendly. Ooh, sorry about that. Race 8 took place on Twin Ring Motegi, the full variant, not the short one. And this race I think went pretty well. Mainly just because it definitely was not like it wasn't as close as what's it called Hong Kong. And I think that's mainly due to the fact that this track is kind of like it has a lot of straights and even on the like turns it's never like too much in terms of how much you need to actually turn. It's usually like kind of wide turns, right? So you don't end up losing a lot of speed. You don't end up like losing a ton of time on turns, really. That definitely is a track where you have to drive more fair in terms of like how you're gonna gain your time. Not really too much about shortcuts. Um, I think overall this track is probably one of the most I wouldn't say forgettable, but one of the ones that kind of blended in the most in terms of this event, just because it's kind of like yeah, it's race 8. It's not really like anything really too special, right? I think at this point I was just kind of racing just to kind of get through this event because this event definitely did go on for longer than I thought. Because this is a 10 race championship, which means there's still two whole tracks after this that I have to get through, and I didn't know what either of them were. And there was one track I was looking for that I was gonna specifically quit out on. Should it have come up, and I'm sure you could guess, but it was Nürburgring, because Nürburgring is a track that would take at least 7 minutes to actually get through, but even then it's annoying just because it's so twisty and turny, and it's just a very kind of annoying track. So imagine that while trying to drive at like 1 in the morning. Definitely not good. I went ahead and cut ahead to the end right here just to kind of show that, it was the same thing, close race, but it was definitely fun, right? I think this event was probably like the most fun I had in this game for a little bit. Because for one, it's an actual event, not an endurance event, which was just B-Spec Driver. But I think this event overall had a good selection of tracks. Really, it was a lot of good tracks, honestly, and kind of a couple of bad ones that I just like, yeah, I'm not gonna really, try. Like what's it called? Like High Speed Ringway, and then the last track, which you're gonna see here in a bit. I did not want to bother even trying on that track, so yeah, didn't even really want to try. Um, I think overall, what's it called? I should say race 9, actually. I should talk about the track. Race 9 took place on the 2005 variant of Fuji Speedway. I'm pretty sure is what that's called, which is Fuji Speedway, except the shortcut that's on the 90s variant is gone, and they added a new section where you have to take like two extra turns, right? It's nothing too major, but it definitely does add a bit to the track. I think this is also the variant that made it into Gran Turismo 7 for Fuji Speedway, so yeah, I guess there's that. Um, I don't think there's too much else to really add to this race 9 here. It was just kind of I know this was one of the ones where I had kind of a bit of a like longer lead than the person in second place, just because the straightaways definitely made it very easy to actually accelerate. Race 9 was overall just kind of more of the same for the last 8 races in a row. On race 10, I do remember this though. I saw the track, and you're gonna see something here in a bit. Right, go ahead and just kind of go through here, just kind of go through the motions, go through all the replays. I saw it was Suzuka, the full variant of Suzuka for like 5 laps, and I was like, I did not want to race that, so I went ahead and just quit out and just accepted the fact that I got gold on pretty much everything besides the like final race, which is fine because I won the championship by like a landslide, really. It wasn't too bad necessarily, but I just did not want to bother racing on it. Bother racing on the full variant of Suzuka, especially at like 130, because this event went on for a while. Anyways, the prize car for this event was the Nissan Model Pitwork Z, otherwise known as just the LM variant of like the 3 350Z, I want to say. I don't want to say that's the 370, but I do want to say that it is one of the Z's. Um, just kind of going back over this event, I think it was very fun. I did enjoy this event for the time that I did play it. Very enjoyable. Just kind of, like kind of going back to what I did during the series at the start. I did kind of enjoy doing this event, even though it definitely was what's it called? It was definitely strange, kind of going back to normal events because I was doing endurance events for so long, but it definitely is just more of like the same, right, that I've been doing for so long. But yeah, that wraps it up for this episode. And the next one we'll be doing another event, which is gonna be another voiceover, and then the finale is gonna be one last episode. So I'll see y'all then.